Welcome to episode 33 of the Midwest Angler Podcast. I'm Scott Sturman, and I'm joined, after 2 weeks, again by Matt Deitch. Matt, how are you?
I'm back.
You're back. Thank God you're back.
No, Stuart did a good job in my absence. It was fun listening to the podcast up there. I enjoyed it. It was a little different to hear somebody else's voice than my own on there, so I was actually a little bit more engaged with it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun having a different person on, but no offense to Stuart, I'm excited to have you back. Like I said, no offense to him. It just, when you do 32 episodes together,
right,
it just kind of starts clicking.
That's right. No, it was a fun 2 weeks up there. We were by Alexandria, Minnesota. We're on Lake Mary. We stayed at Westridge Shores Resort up there. That's like our 6th or 7th year in a row doing that. It was a lot of fun. It's always a blast up there. Really enjoy Aaron and Eric Fredrickson. They run the place and they do a great job with it. Very family-oriented resort. We met a lot of people from around the country, a lot of fellow Iowa people. Most of them were Hawkeye fans. So
all the good ones are.
Yep. So that was kind of fun sitting around the fire talking to some of those guys, and they had a lot of questions about fishing at night, and they were excited about fishing too, so it always makes it better. And there's a couple that we know from over in the Chicago area that has been coming up there. I think they are on like 30-some years of going up to Lake Mary, and we've gotten to know them pretty well over the years and sit there and talk with them. So it's always fun to kind of get to see those people that you haven't seen for a year and see how everything's going in their lives. But yeah, fishing for 2 weeks, it's definitely nice.
Yeah, that wouldn't suck.
I think the nice thing about it is just the fact that you're on the lake. So if weather comes in, you can be off the lake in 5 minutes. You sit there, it passes, boom, you're right back out there. Or it might get kind of windy. We had one day up there where it was really windy, but that was this last week. So it was just kind of, we didn't get much fishing in. But when it would die down, you could go out there and fish for a while before the wind would pick back up. So you could get some fishing in during the day, no matter what the weather was. Had a couple of hailstorms the first week while we were up there, but again, it was after we had a full day of fishing in, so it is what it is. I mean, the lake up there is pretty high. It's about a foot higher than what it normally is. They've had a lot of rain, just like all of us have down around here. The fishing was, pretty good. Depends what we were going after. The first week we really didn't target panfish a whole lot, but when my dad got up there, and that's kind of his thing is panfish, he really got onto a really good crappie bite. So that was fun, and we caught a lot of nice crappies.
Oh yeah, but mostly the pictures that I got from you were bass, and you got on a heck of a bass bite the one day, about as fast as you could drop her in there. You were pulling one back out. That was crazy.
Yeah, one thing about Lake Mary is that there's not a lot of big bass in the lake, but there's a lot of numbers. Yeah. The average fish is about that 2 to 3 pound range. I shouldn't say average. That's kind of on the upper end of the average size is 2 to 3 pounds. And every once in a while you pull in one that's 4 to 5 pounds, but usually nothing bigger than that. But there's a lot of 1 pound fish in there. So, went out there and found kind of a deep weed edge in about 14, 15 foot of water and put the drop shot out. And it was a lot of fun. It was one after another. Like you said, I took a couple videos, did a Facebook Live catching some, so that was kind of fun. I thought, man, I'm catching them. I'm going to do the Facebook Live. Now watch, as soon as I do that, they're going to stop biting.
And we've had that before, like carp fishing down at the river, just one after the other, and you finally work up the courage to do a Facebook Live, and nothing.
So, there goes the bite. It's like they know what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, so no, it was a great time. It's always relaxing, spending some family time with my brothers and their families and nieces and nephews and my mom and dad. So and my aunt and my wife Emily, obviously.
Yep. Well, speaking of Minnesota, we've got a guest today.
Yes,
one of your buddies.
Yep, Travis Nielsen.
And where's Travis exactly from?
It's I think he's from Winnebago, Minnesota, kind of over in that Fairmont area, up in that area. But yeah, Travis is. I caught my first muskie with Travis.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Travis's specialty is a species that you're familiar with, but it's something relatively new to the podcast. We've had bass fishermen, we've had walleye fishermen, lake trout fishermen. Now we got the musky fisherman.
Now we got a musky fisherman coming in.
Yeah, from north of the border in Minnesota. And so, we'll get Travis on the line here in a second. And, Travis, you there, man?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we got a couple questions that we're going to start off with before we get into the fishing talk. And I'll take one, Matt will take another. But the first question I got for you is a hot dog, a sandwich. Tell us why or why not.
Oh, I'd have to say a sandwich. And the reason why is because, I just don't know what they put in hot dogs.
I don't think any of us want to know what they put in hot dogs.
So your vote is that it is a sandwich.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's in between two buns, I suppose, or in
between two pieces of bread. But he knew right off the
Yeah,
bat. He didn't even have to think about
about
it.
it.
I don't know what Matt's thinking about here, but
He's excited.
I'm finally back.
Yeah.
All right, and then the other one is, okay, if you're on death row, what's your death row meal?
oh man, I'd have to say a tomahawk, or those tomahawk ribeyes,
Oh, yeah.
and probably a baked potato, and some steamed Brussels sprouts with a big slice of cheesecake.
You thought about this a
I
little
was
bit.
going to say, what is going on here?
Well, I was thinking of my favorite foods,
Well, yeah, that's
I
true.
guess.
I mean, that sounds like just like a weeknight meal for Scott, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You don't get your name on the wall at Texas Roadhouse by eating hot dogs.
yeah, you gotta practice for those events.
That's
That's
exactly
true.
right. So, all right. Well, we'll get to the real bread and butter, to the fishing. But tell us about yourself and how you got started in fishing.
In fishing, well, I think the fishing bug got transferred to me from probably both my grandpa and my dad. I remember as a kid, man, I used to ask to go fishing anytime I could, and I actually got branded. My cousin made me this little quilt thing when I was little that said said my name Travis. I'd rather be fishing, because that's pretty much what I said about me.
No,
What?
no. Go ahead.
No, I've been fishing for as long as I can remember, and I remember, in high school when teachers asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up. And I said, well, I want to fish and hunt for a living. And she kind of laughed at me a little bit. Well, I didn't think that was very funny, because that's what I wanted to do. So that's kind of what I tried for, and it's kind of
Now you're doing it and laughing at her.
yeah. Just trying to find the ways to do it full time,
right. I think we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I mean, it is crazy how you say that, being a teacher myself and having the same experience you did back when I was in school, there really wasn't any opportunities, a lot of opportunities and jobs in the fishing or hunting industry, or both of them, when we were in school. But now it's just crazy the opportunities out there that kids or anybody really, if they want to get into it, they really can.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And I happen to be, I consider myself lucky because I happen to meet the right people. It seems like the right people at the right times.
Yeah.
And I don't know, divine intervention or what that may be, but, I feel very lucky because of that.
It's all about those connections. I mean, that's why you always got to treat everybody with respect and equally and everything like that, because you never know when, you're going to need them.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Now I tried to never burn bridges.
That's right.
So how long have you been guiding?
I think this is, what year is this? 2019. Probably, I think it's right around year 7.
Year 7?
Yeah, right, 6 or 7. I can't remember. I don't know if that's the age or what it is.
And now you guide for everything at the moment, right?
Yeah, at the moment I do, yeah. I prefer, if I had to choose 2 species, I would always choose muskies first and then walleyes after that.
Right.
Tell the listeners about your guide service, what it's called, where they can find you.
Oh, my guide service is called the Hookup Fishing Guide Service. And you can find me on, most people find me on Facebook or Instagram. That's where or just through my regular, Travis Nielsen on Facebook itself is where most people get a hold of me through. But, yeah, I guide from, that's going to be changing in the future. Right now I'm guiding from northern Iowa all the way up to, Lake Vermilion.
Right.
I make stops through the way, Lake Miltona up by Alexandria. I used to do a lot more down here on Fox Lake, but the lake has gone quite dirty, and it's a lot harder to have the full experience there. Even though there's big fish in there and you can still catch them, it's not quite as good as it used to be. I think it's a lot to do with the water quality that's there and how clear it is.
So tell us about the change.
It started. It's probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It was the cleanest year. I did a filming bit with Keys Outdoors out there about, I don't remember how many years ago, about 4 years ago, maybe 5. And that was the last year where, I take that back. The year after that was the last year where the water clarity was at least 3 feet. And it progressively got worse. And now I went out there on opener for about maybe an hour and a half, and I had about 1 inch clarity.
Wow.
And I just kind of was like, well, I'm not even going to bother because, and I'm not going to lie, I saw fish on side imaging. I mean, you can see them just laying there. But you just kind of lose all your hope when you can't even see your bait. And you really can't move your bait slow enough unless you're using topwater to effectively, let that fish get on that bait and track it, and because they were super shallow.
Huh. And they don't really know what's causing it?
Not as far as I know. I've heard a couple rumors, but of what's going on about something, and I don't know what's true or what's not true.
Yep. Well, we don't want to spread rumors.
That's right. Hopefully they can get it figured out here pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know what the issue is, but that was my, it still is, I had 2 of my best days out there.
Right.
And fish out of there. There's a lot of fish in there, and there's a lot of big fish in there, and that's what's tough about it, is I know they're in there, and it's frustrating when you can't fish it the way you are accustomed to fishing.
Right. Now, are muskies kind of a predominantly sight feeder then, or?
They have a huge lateral line, so vibration and things like that in your baits is really good. But visual is how I imagine most of them.
Oh, okay. So like you said, now muskies. I know I've known you for a while now, and muskies is your thing. So why muskies?
That's the king of freshwater, man. It's the ultimate freshwater predator.
Right.
And another thing is they're not easy to catch. The difference between a follow and a catch is 100%. Oh, I shouldn't say 100%. Let's say 90% in your hands. If you go through the motions and you do everything to keep that fish committed to your lure, whatever it may be, and there's some lures that are easier than others, a lot of that's in your hands and how you present the bait in a figure 8 next to the boat, and the availability to get that fish in the bag.
Yeah, to be a musky fisherman, you got to be dedicated. That's for sure. I mean, you got to have that passion to want to go. I mean, you can't just. I mean, you could casually go out there, but your chances of catching one aren't as good as somebody that really pays attention to everything like you do. Yeah,
I mean, you really have to pay attention to the details, and getting into a flow of it's easy to just make a cast and not do an L turn or a figure 8 when you pull your bait in. And the time you don't do it, it's probably going to be the time that there's a fish behind it.
Right.
For the people that don't fish muskies that are listening, tell them what a figure 8 is.
So figure 8 is a motion. So when you're bringing your bait in, let's just say I happen to be throwing a bucktail. So I cast my bucktail out, and I'm bringing it in. And when I'm bringing my bait in, you're constantly, every cast, you're looking not just right behind your bait, but maybe 5-10 feet behind it and also below it, because muskies will track behind them as they're almost, you could say, stalking their prey. When you come you're coming up to the boat, you come in and you do like a 90-degree turn with your rod, and you just imagine a giant figure 8. You would draw a line with your rod in the water. So when you come up on your, let's just say you imagine that in your head in the center. I typically go fast and deep in the center, when I come up on the turns on the outsides, I like to go slower and hang my bait, because typically that's where, if you do it in that fashion, 9 times out of 10, the muskies are going to hit on that corner. And when they do that, they're typically going to T-bone your bait. So when you set back, most people will keep going forward with your bait as you're going through your figure eight, but when the fish hits, you want to actually set back into the fish. That way the hook's actually, you get penetration into the mouth there.
Now,
So
for a
that
person,
give you a good,
exactly. For a person that's caught as many muskies as you, can you give an idea of what the percentage is of how many you've caught that have been out in your cast and how many you've caught during your figure eight?
Oh, let's say 75% in the figure eight.
75% in the figure eight.
That's why it's so important to always do that on every cast.
Absolutely. You get lazy with it, and I mean,
really
you're missing
do.
75% of your fish.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So that's why it's so critical. And when I'm guiding, I watch, I might get like almost annoying with it when I keep telling them, hey, you got to figure it every single time. But if you don't understand,
Right.
I took this guy out just for an example. I'll never forget it. I took him out. We're on Miltona, and we pulled up on this weed line. We started going down, and it wasn't one I fished a lot, but I knew there were still fish there sometimes. And I basically went there because I was teaching him how to cast, the bait caster first, because you got to be able to cast. So his first cast goes about 5 feet. I'm like, hey, that's okay. We're learning. Let's keep going. Second cast goes about 20 feet. And I'm like, showed him a few things in correction. The third cast he made was a bomb cast, went way out there. So I was just teaching him the retrieve, and it happened to be throwing, I think we were actually using a cowgirl at the time. And he's bringing it back in, and he saw his bait coming through the water, and he's like, hey, what the heck is that? Well, he has a fish, and it's well over 50 inches behind his bait. And I'm like, oh, crap, I haven't taught him anything else yet. And I told him, I said, all right, what I'm going to do is when you get that bait close to the boat, I'm going to push your rod tip to the side, and then I want you just to do a picture a figure eight in your head out in the water and draw the line and just kind of continue with that motion. I said, she's going to eat in this first side of it. He's like, okay. So the fish comes in, and she was right. I mean, her nose is probably touching the tinsel. And I pushed his rod to the side as hard as I could, and she flared her gills up like she was going to eat it, and then he forgot what he was going to do. And the fish just went below the bait and left. And, it's funny to me because he's like, well, wow, this is really easy. I didn't imagine it would be this easy. I'm like, well, really not this easy. And then, proceeded, he did catch a fish that day, and then I think I caught a couple that day too. But it was one of those things that, unless you do it a lot, there's days where you don't even see anything.
Right.
And there's days where you can have 10 follows and none of them want anything to do with you.
I've heard you mention bucktails, and I've heard you mention cowgirls. Tell us what your top 3 baits are.
Top 3 baits?
Yep.
I would have to say top 3. I'd probably say Musky Mayhem Showgirl would be my number 1 that I have to take everywhere. Boy, that's a tough one. I definitely have to have a softtail glider, like a Phantom glider, just because and then probably Bulldog, Musky Innovations Bulldog. Those would be the 3 I'd have to have.
Right on.
Well, I didn't even say a topwater even. Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can do 5. I won't get mad at you.
We're fishermen. We know how it goes. It's like, that one. Well, no, I need this one too, so.
We definitely have to have a prop style topwater and a walker style topwater. Those 2 right there.
You can't go wrong with prop style topwater. I think that's what most of my big fish have ever come off of.
I'm not going to lie to you. You're talking Spanish.
It's funny that some of the biggest fish I've seen in the last couple of years. So, a guy I know, Matt Worth, makes a bait called a flat tail. And it's the funniest thing in the world. Like, people see it and they're like, why do muskies want to eat this thing? Some of the bigger fish we've boated in the past couple of years have been on that bait.
Yeah, sometimes the goofier the bait, the better they are, because I don't know why. Maybe it's just something they don't see very often. When they do, it's just like, all right, I got to have that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I don't even know why they want to eat it. But
right. Sometimes
I
they
don't know what
don't.
they think it is.
Yeah, I
Looks
know. Now you said you guide throughout kind of the Midwest up here in northern Iowa up into Minnesota. What would be your favorite lakes that you fish?
Oh, even though Lake Vermilion was tough this year, I love fishing up there. It's so, it's like being in Canada, but you're not.
Right. There was just an AIM walleye tournament on there, and a lot of those guys were talking about how it's like the structure. There's so much structure in that lake that it's just incredible.
Yep. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, you're fishing. You can fish rock, weeds. And there's different kinds of rock you can fish. You can fish like tabletop rock, or you can fish boulders, shale rock. There's big cabbage up there. I don't know what the technical name for the other kind of cabbage that we call it tobacco leaf cabbage. It's like this huge leaf, a single leaf on this weed. It looks like a tobacco plant.
Okay.
But there's so much diversity up there. You can fish deep water. You fish super shallow. Sometimes when that's some of the funnest fishing I've had is when the muskies get up on the rocks up there on the rock piles and the reefs. You can get up there and just burn bucktails. It's so much fun.
Now, for a person like me who's very inexperienced with musky fishing, or somebody who's listening who doesn't musky fish but wants to get into it, what's some advice that you could give us?
Oh, I would say, here the thing is, and a lot of people say, well, it's because I'm a guide that I'm saying this, but it's not. I would say either go with a buddy that before you even start buying anything, go with a buddy or hire a guide to go out, because it's not an inexpensive sport, but make sure it's something that you would really like to do. And I guarantee you, it doesn't matter how old you are, once you have your first giant fish follow your bait, you're going to be hooked.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I believe
But
that.
just going out with somebody who has the equipment to make it, and the right equipment to make it so it doesn't kill your body going out. Because I'm not going to lie, it's tough work some days. Especially if you have to burn bucktails, and that is what that means is you're casting out as far as you can and reeling that bait as fast as your body can allow yourself to reel. And the fish are going to catch it. There's no way you can out reel a fish. So, that is excruciating, especially when you have to do it for 3-4 days. That'll tear up your body.
Now, if you show up to a lake you've never fished at before, but there's muskies in it, what are you looking for?
Probably the biggest food table to start. What I mean by food table is probably the biggest piece of structure that has, access to deep water is one thing I'll be looking for. Obviously, there's, either weeds or rock on it that will hold bait, but also, give the muskies a structural advantage to stalk their prey. But access to deep water also is another type of cover as well. But I would probably, honestly, even before I cast, I go through with, I happen to run hummingbirds in my boat, and I'll go through with side imaging, and a lot of times you can mark the fish in those particular areas, and you can, before you even fish there, you can say, well, there's no fish here. We're not marking anything. Let's just go look somewhere else, until you actually go somewhere and you start marking on your side binge, you're marking some muskies, and then I'll probably start casting. But, if there's a lot of bait there, I might still cast it anyways, because, sometimes there's things you just can't see. But if bait's present, more than likely there should be a couple fish there.
Right. And, you talk about with the hummingbirds like that. Besides rods and the lures, obviously, what are some other equipment, if somebody is going to go out musky fishing for the first time, that they should probably have in their boat? Like, everybody always thinks, oh, okay, I got rods, I got reels, but they don't think about some of the other things, because once you hook into that muskie, you got to have a big net, obviously, and once you get it into the net, I mean, you want to release it as safely and quickly as possible.
What I would recommend, having a bolt cutters of some sort. Like I've got, I can't remember the company that makes them, but a good set of cutters so you can cut them heavy hooks. A long needle nose pliers, hookouts. I actually wear when I'm unhooking the fish. I actually wear Lindy makes a hook-proof glove. I wear that. Just because I don't want to bury hooks in my hands while I'm dealing with fish, because they thrash a lot when they're in the net, roll, things like that. Really easy to get hurt when you're unhooking a fish in the net. But just if you got a fish that's hooked so bad you can't get the hooks out, cut hooks. They always make more hooks.
Right.
So cut hooks off, and I like to let the fish lay there a little bit in the net. After I get it all unhooked, just kind of let her sit there for a little bit before I go pulling her out of the water. A lot of times we'll lay her on a bump board, which is a measuring tool. You can lay her right on there. Most of them fold up and over. To lay them on there, get a measurement of her, take a quick picture, put her back in the water, and then when you get them in the water, they'll let you know when they're ready to go. You'll feel their body kind of tense up. And then you'll feel starting to get a little life back in their body, because they exert a lot of energy once they get hooked and get all that stress from catching them, getting them in the net, unhooking them, having them out of the water, take a picture. Just putting them back in the water and just letting them regain themselves, so that way they can swim away and live to fight another day.
In the musky world, catch and release is number one. Why is that so important?
It's a valuable resource. Not only that, it's an expensive resource. So, in some of these big fish, in some fisheries, it takes them, 18, 20, 30 years to get the size that they get. So it doesn't happen overnight. Walleyes typically grow a lot fast. They grow faster. Muskies grow slower. Once they hit, I read a study, and I don't remember the exact length, but I know once they hit 36 inches, they get to 36 inches fairly quickly. But once they hit 36, it takes them a long time to reach that 50-inch mark.
Yeah, it is. It's so important to let those things, let them go, treat them, handle them as carefully as possible, because like you said, they do exert a lot of energy in that fight, and they can die if you don't handle them the right way.
Yeah, especially like right now is critical, because I won't fish down this way. Most of the water temps are above 80 degrees, and you have a lot of times you catch a fish when the water is above 80 degrees. They can kill the fish.
Right. And so yeah, like you said, a lot of guys don't fish. Then a lot of them, like you, go up to the northern Minnesota waters where the water is cooler most of the time.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll head up there. Even if there's lakes in Alexandria, I don't think every once in a while they'll hit 80 degrees, but not very often.
Right. I think we had this last couple weeks when we were up there, it was in the upper 70s. It was getting up there close to the 80-degree mark, but...
Yep.
What's the biggest muskie you've ever caught?
55.5 inches.
55.5 inches. Holy moly.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. I've been itching just to catch one bigger.
What's the biggest one you've ever caught on a guide trip, like one of your customers?
Oh, shoot, I think probably, I gotta think back here, 52 probably.
There you go, guys. You want a 52-inch muskie, you know who to call.
Besides the guiding like that, you also dabble in some of the professional muskie tournaments too, don't you?
Yeah, I fished a professional muskie tournament trail. That's a trail that I typically stick to the Midwest in their tournaments. I try to anyway. Actually, this year the World Championships on Spirit Lake Okoboji.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
When is that?
October. Gosh, I think it's 4th and 5th.
Wow, I might have to go over and watch that.
You fishing in it?
No, I because we're moving. I didn't really have time for fishing the trail this year. I am going to do the mega event. They have a PMTT as a mega event where it's a bigger entry fee, bigger payout. This year that's on Leech Lake.
Oh,
fishing
cool.
it with my buddy Ryan.
Have you ever finished pretty high or won any of them professional muskie tournaments?
Typically we've been, let's see, we got 3rd place on Eagle River. And let's see here. I got to think here. I'm trying to remember. I know the Vermilion one, we were just right at that. I don't think we had top 10. I think it was 11th. We were just shy, like 1 point away from being in the top 10. But that was, I think third is the best we've done. And, that's out of a field. Most tournaments run 125 boats.
Wow. Take us through that day. How many fish did you catch?
Actually, so the day we got third, it was on Eagle River.
Which is
in Wisconsin.
That's in northern Wisconsin.
Okay.
Northern Wisconsin.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, northern Wisconsin. It's 7 lakes. I believe it's 7 lakes. There's Waters Meat, Cranberry, Catfish, Eagle Lake. Can't remember all the other ones. There's a couple. Waters. Did I say Waters Meat? Anyways, Yellow Birch. There's there are a bunch of lakes up there that are connected to the Wisconsin River, and they have tournaments up there every year, actually. And this was actually our second tournament we've ever fished together, Ryan and I. And we just went through, and what we did particularly that particular year, we looked for a structure nearest to deeper water, and if we found weed lines that happened to go a little bit deeper, we went a lot. We fished a lot of water pre-fishing. We were up there for, you go up there for about a week in advance and you pre-fish, trying to figure out what the fish are doing, what they want to eat. And we found one spot. What's funny is Ryan and I've, most of the tournaments we fish, we pick out 2 or 3 spots that we want to fish, and then we fish them hard. We fish them through, all the moon phases. Where if we happen to move and fish, we'll come back and 9 times out of 10 we catch that fish when you get a moon phase coming through, whether it be a major or a minor, moonset, moonrise, things like that. But we happened to Ryan caught the first fish that tournament. It was funny. He during that week the fish had wanted their bucktails a little bit faster, so I was cranking in the bucktail pretty fast in the back, and Ryan was pulling a jerkbait, I think is what he was doing. Anyways, he switched over to a bucktail and just started going a little bit slower. And it was like his second cast, he caught that. He caught a 46-incher. And for, I'm used to Minnesota fish, okay? Minnesota fish, a 46-inch fish is a okay fish. But out in Wisconsin, I had learned that out there, 46-inch fish is a really big fish. So I was like, hoo-hoo, we got a 46, that made us feel pretty good. Nice, clean fish, too, really pretty fish. And then we kept circling that spot because we were marking bait all over it. And it wasn't a very big spot. It was probably, it was 100 feet by 200 feet probably. And it gets kind of boring doing that. But when the fish are there, it's just a matter of that bite window opening up when those fish decide to start chasing out and eating. And we fished there almost till noon, and then we decided, we'd moved a really big fish on another spot. So we went to go check that out, and then we got all the way there and fished that quick, and then we went to one other spot, and I looked at Ryan and I said, we got to get back to all those fish that are on that one spot. So we went back there, and I think it was our first pass. That had been our second trip around the spot after we went on topwater. And then it was kind of funny, there were storms building, and I knew the fish were just going to blow up. Those storms were building, coming through, or weren't quite through yet, but you could see them on the horizon. And I threw this topwater on and started bringing it in, and I saw a little beak of a musky come up behind it and miss it. And I said, oh, there's one. And, a big boil behind the bait. And she turned and I just attacked it. And I didn't think it was hooked that well. And Ryan, I'm like, she's not hooked good. Hurry up, get back here with the net. And we got her in the net, and there was all the hooks are buried in her. So I'm like, oh, never mind. I didn't think she was hooked that good. Apparently she was. And then those 2 fish, day 1 is what we got. And we were sitting in second place. And then day 2 came, and we had 2 opportunities where fish were at the boat. We just couldn't get them to couldn't get them to finalize the deal. So we ended up going to the meeting that night, and I kept, I'll never forget the moment we're sitting there. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, all right, hopefully we're at least in the top 10, because we didn't catch anything on day 2. And they kept going through the places, and I'm like, wow, they haven't said our name yet. But I know we had more points than these guys yesterday, so where are we, and we ended up getting third. And I was like, cool, that's pretty awesome. Made for a nice long trip home,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, how did those musky tournaments work? As far as obviously, there's not a weigh-in. You catch the fish, you measure them right there. You take a couple pictures of them.
Yeah. So what you do is when you catch a fish and you get in the net, you call up. I can't think of his name right now. You call him, the guy who's in charge of the tournament. You call him up and say, hey, we got a fish in the bag. And then that way he knows. And then what you do is you unhook the fish, you measure it out, and you take a picture of it laying on the bump board. And make sure, and they give you these stickers for each morning of a certain color that you have to have on your bump board, and they have to be visible so that way they know that it's from that day.
Yep.
So you take the pictures of it laying on the bump board and make sure, you got the nose touching one side and your tail stretched out, and then you take a picture of holding it, then you release it, and then you call them up and say, hey, we just released the fish, and that way you can start fishing again. So once you have a fish in the boat or in the net, the other guy can't be fishing. So
right.
And then you have a sheet that you fill out, and then it goes by points. So the length of your fish determines the amount of points that you get. Like, you get more points for a 50-inch fish than you do a 30-inch fish. You get quite a few more points. So a guy with 3 30-inch fish, I think, can get beat by a guy with a 50-inch fish, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's always a little different. A lot of people don't know what all goes into like a musky tournament like that. I mean, we see the bass fishing tournaments on TV and the walleye tournaments. There's a lot of different formats for those, but the musky tournaments, it's kind of a foreign thing for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and there, you know what? It's very humbling because you're going up against the best sticks in the world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of excuse me. It's a lot of fun. I've met a lot of good friends on the trail that I still talk to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun.
So now, do you guys have any sponsors through the tournaments and stuff like that, or anybody that sponsors you right now?
Right. Well, we're still working on that right now, but we do work with. I work with Musky Mayhem Tackle, Musky Innovations, Just in Case. Just in Case is who build lure boxes. They're awesome. You can stand on them. I've beat the crap out of mine over the past few years. You don't think about your tackle box that much until you're putting $50 to $70 baits in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But just guys I work. Ira Garcia. All the companies that I work with, I help promote their products at the same time. They help me out when tournament times come around. Great companies to work with.
Yeah.
I'm probably missing a few, and I'm sorry if I am, but.
Well, no. Before we let you go, Travis, if you want to let us know one more time how people can get a hold of you, what your guide service is called. You said that it was on Facebook, but yeah, just repeat that one more time for the listeners.
Yeah, it's the Hookup Fishing Guide Service. You can get a hold of me on Facebook or Instagram, and you can also get a hold of me by telephone if you want to text or call. Either way, it doesn't bother me. That's 507-381-5439.
Right on. Well, we appreciate you calling in and talking with us, and hopefully people understand a little bit more about the musky fishing world.
Well, for sure. I got to get you out again, Matt, sometimes.
I know we need to get out again. We've had a couple of good days.
Yeah, I remember the first time you caught your first one.
Yep, my first muskie was with you.
Yep, that was a lot of fun.
Yep, for sure.
So, all right, thanks a lot, Travis.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya. All right, there he goes, Travis Nielsen. Yeah, we want to thank Travis for stopping by and talking. Musky fishing is just not something that a ton of people around here really do.
It's
so
kind of a select few. We got fish over there in the Iowa Great Lakes, Okoboji and Spirit Lake. There's some pretty good muskies in there, but again, it's very rarely do you see a lot of people out there, like when we're out fishing, chucking those big baits around for them.
Well, what do they call them? The fish of 10,000 casts?
Yep.
And I think that's just it, I mean, kind of like Craig Euler with the lake trout. You're not going to go out there and catch numbers, but you got to be out there specifically for that one fish, and that's what drives them guys.
Oh, for sure.
So, well, going into our next deal, Matt, you've got a big weekend, end of the week.
Yeah, coming up. Wednesday, leaving for La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm going to fish as a co-angler in the Bassmaster Central Open over there, so pretty excited about that. Been doing a lot of research and looking online at stuff. I'm not able to get out there to do any pre-fishing, which in a way kind of sucks, so don't really know what the water conditions are right now and everything like that. But then again, in a way, as a co-angler,
you're kind of at the mercy of the boater.
Of the boater, what will happen on Wednesday. Registration is from 1 to 4, and then 5 o'clock they have a rules meeting with all the boaters and all the non-boaters, and then they will have your pairing there, and I'll get their phone number and have to get a hold of them, and hopefully that night I can talk to whoever I'm paired with for Thursday morning, kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing, so I know how to set up my rods, because I'm only going to bring like 4 or 5 rods along. I think they say no more than 6, but I don't think I'll have 6, just for the fact of I don't want all my equipment laying around in the boater's boat, because I'm in his boat, and and he or she, I should say, there's women in tournament too, that it's their boat. They've got more invested into it than what I really do. But yeah, I'm fishing for 3 fish, and they're fishing for 5. Up until about a week ago, they were only going to be able to keep 3 fish as well. But
oh, really?
But somebody over there, I can't think of his name. I saw it on Facebook a couple times. He met with the Wisconsin DNR and the tournament directors, and was able to get them to get like a special permit for this tournament so that the boaters could have a 5 fish limit. So they're fishing for 5 fish. I'm fishing for 3 fish out of the back of the boat. I've got all my packets from the organization Bass, and going through all the rules and stuff. There's a lot of I'm glad, you got to do that stuff, and I'm glad I did, because one of the things is you got to have non-penetrating culling clips, and so I had to go out and get some of those. I had planned on it anyways, but that was kind of like, okay, here we go. And what those are, they just kind of press down and hold on to a fish's lips, so you can get them in and out of the live well easier, and identify which is your smaller fish for culling reasons and stuff like that. So
yep. Now this Bassmaster Open that you're going to, not specifically this tournament, but the Bassmaster Opens are the biggest tournament that, for say, an average person like you and I can technically get into, correct?
Yep, correct. The Elite Series, you've got to qualify to be on that tour, and that takes a lot of big money, a lot of sponsorship. Same way with the Central Opens. A lot of these people that are fishing in these tournaments, that's their aspirations, is to get into the Elite Series. So they're fishing all these tournaments for points, and usually like the top, I don't know what it is, the top 5 or 8 people in the Opens points can qualify to get into the Elite Series. So,
and there are a couple, well, at least for sure one Elite Series anglers fishing in this.
Oh, there's quite a few. There's probably about a handful of Elite Series anglers fishing this event, or FLW pros, or Major League Fishing pros that are also in it too, because you can still get qualified for the Bassmaster Classic through this too. Like the winner in the winner of the boater division, the pro division, he or she, if they fish all of the opens and they win a tournament, I think it's that way yet, they qualify for the Bassmaster Classic next spring.
Right. The St. James River was this last weekend, and Mike Iaconelli won it, that. But he does not qualify for the Bassmaster Classic because he hasn't fished the other ones.
Correct.
But I seen like Brad Watley is fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Zaldane's wife, Trait, is fishing. Micah Frazier's brother, Mark, I believe, is fishing.
Gerald Swindle is fishing.
Gerald Swindle, John Cox.
John Cox. He's won the Forest Wood Cup, I'm pretty sure. I think he has. So, it'd be kind of crazy to get paired with one of those guys. And
yep. The potential to get paired with, and at the end of the day, any of those boaters, none of them suck.
Right. Well, that's the thing. These people are out there. Some of them have been out there for a while now practicing. They're putting in all this time. like I said, the boaters have way more invested than the co-anglers do. But still, as a co-anglers, you're going out there to compete. What happens is on Thursday and on Friday, everybody fishes, and then Saturday the top 12 fish on Saturday. So the ultimate goal is, obviously I'm not going out there just to go out there and fish. Would I like to win the thing? Heck yeah, I'd like to win the thing. But if I can just finish in the money, that'd be pretty cool. It'd be unreal to fish on Saturday to finish in the top 12. There's 200 pros fishing, and there's 200 co-anglers fishing. So
quite a few from Japan too.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's 26 states or countries represented in the pro division, and like 28 in the co-angler division.
That's very cool.
So yeah, it's talking about getting paired with on the second day. After the first day, the weigh-ins are done. You find out right there who your next day pro is. So then you got to try to get in contact with them. You're setting up your meeting times, where to meet, because 200 boats to get in and out of the water and do all that stuff. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
So on the second day, is that a random draw? Both days. I didn't know if it was how you placed on the first day is how you got set up with your partner for the second day, or how?
No, I think it's pretty much random draw. Same way with like the third day, the top 12. I think they just random draw that one too. From what I understand, but I could be wrong on that too. So
cool, very cool.
There's some guys in the co-angler division that fish all the events. They travel around with a pro, and so they kind of know what's going on. And I'm trying to figure out. I'll bring a lot of my equipment along, but that's why it's so important. I want to get a hold of the boater and figure out what our plan is, so I know what to pack, because I don't want to show up with everything I own. You try to limit it to like one or two boxes, right. Your rain gear and things like that, and try to pack as minimal as possible.
And what it's like to have a co-angler that's really not organized and really in the way. And
I haven't had one yet. You do a good job of packing all your stuff.
No, very cool. Everybody keep your fingers crossed and root for Matt. Troy Deedy and Greg Vance, past guests, are also in the boater division.
Yep, they're the pros.
Be rooting for those guys too.
It'd be kind of cool to get paired with one of those guys.
Absolutely.
That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking, if you would happen to get paired with one of those Japanese people, if they do not speak English, can you imagine the language barrier there between you and them? Maybe you'd form your own little way of sign language or write down stuff or whatever, but I'm sure all of them got something to teach you too.
For sure. Awesome. That's what I'm really doing it for the experience. I've always wanted to fish in a big tournament before, and like you said, this is besides going to the pro division, this is the biggest tournament as a co-angler that I could get into. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm pumped for it, and I'm just going to go out there and fish. It's just have confidence in what I know how to do. And if we're going to be up in the slop throwing frogs, and we're doing that, pitching baits. If we got to go out and use a drop shot, I'm comfortable with doing that too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully next week on episode 34, we'll have some exciting news. Maybe Matt cracked the dub. So
I wouldn't mind coming on $15,000, Richard.
Hey, that'd be awesome. So, we'll see you next week.